Good morning, Melvin. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. So, I just wanted to get started with talking about our last session and talking a little bit about automatic thoughts again. I know we talked about it before.
Yep.
So, you were just talking about how you felt like you're never home, and you've been working really hard to support your family. And we talked a lot about your kids, and one of them starting daycare, your 3-year-old girl.
Yep.
And so, kind of just working through that, and we did talk about your automatic thoughts, which are the thoughts that automatically come into your head, that you necessarily don't really have control over. They're just come in and they're there. Um, and you can really dwell on those thoughts. So, if it's okay with you, we're going to work on another worksheet that pinpoints an automatic thought that you'll want to work on, and we'll go into it more in depth.
Okay.
Okay, so how have you been feeling for the past week?
My week's been okay. There were like a couple of rough times, but overall it was an okay week.
Okay, that sounds good. So, did you work a lot this week?
Yep. Every day pretty much. I only had one day off and they ended up calling me back in. So
Right.
I was
So,
there all the time.
so that sounds like it sounds like you've been really busy lately.
Yeah.
How's everything going with your wife? How is she feeling?
She's mad that I'm not at home. She thinks that I should be at home more, which
Mhm.
I agree I should be, but I can't tell my boss no.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate right now, and you're really just trying to do what you can
Yeah.
to help support your family. So, if we, so moving forward,
Mhm.
I just want to bring forward this sheet
Okay.
that examines the evidence for your automatic thoughts. So basically, we'll pinpoint an automatic thought that maybe from last week, or if you have any new ones,
Mhm.
and we'll write it down, and we'll just work through it and see why you feel this way, and then we'll check and see evidence for maybe why this automatic thought is not true. Like,
Okay.
so any specific automatic thought either from last time or that you've been having lately, like any.
Um, I'm gonna like I just told you about the day where I was supposed to be home hanging out, but I got called into work. So when that happened, I really just felt like I was a bad father and a bad husband because I
Right.
wasn't able to be home. I'm never home.
Okay, well, so I'm just gonna write this down here.
Okay.
Your automatic thought. So you're saying that you feel like you're a bad father
Yeah.
and
Husband.
husband. Okay. Because you're always,
Working.
usually work at work.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a pretty good one, because I feel like this might be something that you may be thinking often.
All
Is
the
that
time.
okay? So, what are some reasons that you might be feeling like this, having those thoughts that you are a bad father and a husband?
Well, one of the big ones is I really am always at work.
Okay.
Another one is that being at work all the time and with my two young kids, I feel like I'm missing a lot of like important times with them,
Right.
like milestones and
Right.
the first things of everything.
Definitely, that can be hard.
Yeah, it is. And then one more would probably be that whenever me and my wife do have time together, it's an argument about how much I'm at work.
All right, so those are there. You're always at work. You miss a lot of milestones for your kids, and you and your wife. It sounds like you guys struggle sometimes because you're not always there, and
Yeah.
she may feel like she misses you or whatever it may be. So now I would just like to talk about maybe if we can think of some evidence that go against your automatic thoughts. So like maybe some like how you really feel about how like what why do you go like why are you always at work all the
Okay.
time?
Well, like am always at work because I do need to support my family.
Right.
I am happy that I can take care of them, but it's just the time.
Anything
Problem.
else?
Another one would be that I do love my kids, and I know they love me, and I would do anything for them. Like I do want to be a good dad, and I would help them with anything.
Right.
And then for my wife, that we argue, I know that she misses me, and I know that I don't want to argue with her, and she doesn't want to argue with me.
Right.
But it's just kind of the result of me never being at home.
Is there anything else that you think might go against that automatic thought?
Probably that I do all that I can for my family, and I do try to be like a good, supportive father and husband.
Right. And, you know, I hear you, and I hear that you're saying that, you know, you're doing the best that you can to support your family and that you really care about your family,
Yeah.
but then sometimes, you know, you feel like you're missing out on a lot, and, you know, maybe some of that stress is, you know, going over to your wife, and she may be feeling like you're missing out a lot, and she like you said, she probably really does miss you and is missing those moments with you and those times with you. So, you know, maybe that is, you know, another way to look at it, as that maybe she's not really, you know, angry towards you. Maybe she's just missing you and, you know, missing those times with you. So if we look at the sheet, we can see that you had a lot more evidence against your automatic thoughts.
Yeah.
And as opposed to the evidence that you had for the automatic thoughts, you know, because these are pretty valid, like you working because you're supporting your family. And, you know, you do miss your kids' milestones, but, you know, I'm sure that your kids still love you, and they still, you know, they want to spend as much time with you as, you know, you want to spend as much time with them, but it can be hard because you are working so much. And same goes for your wife, you know, like I said, she might just miss you, and that might be where this is coming from. So I also wanted to just ask you, which I should have asked you before, was that your automatic thought that you're a bad father and a bad husband, what is that like for you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the best and like 10 being like the, you know, the worst kind of feeling?
I would say like a 9 out of 10.
A 9, yeah. So that's pretty high.
Yeah.
So what would a 2 or 3 look like for you? How would like a 2 or 3 be for you throughout the week?
I think a 2 or a 3 would just be being able to have some more time with my family, coming home and being able to spend like the good quality time with my wife and my kids without getting into any arguments or kind of repeating to myself that I'm a bad father and just getting me in an awful mood.
Right. So while looking at this and looking, you know, at how you would rate, you know, your usual like feeling of your automatic thought, you know, what we really want to do here is try to get you down to a 2 or a 3, you know, and just really like focus on how can we sort of make your automatic thought more like positive thoughts, like more like, you know, like how you said, you know, whenever you go home, maybe your wife is feeling frustrated and you guys get into an argument, maybe you can kind of just remember, like, maybe my wife misses me, and, you know, I'm doing the best I can, she's doing the best she can, and
I think that would help.
Right. So, what this sheet also points out would be like maybe like a thought that you have consistently that may not really be like true or realistic.
Okay.
So it's technically called a cognitive error, but we would call it, you know, just like, you know, something that we don't really want to be thinking, like a pattern of a way of thinking that we really, you know, can focus on, and maybe that could help us. So it seems like, you know, you sort of kind of, you know, diminish your accomplishments, and, you know, you're diminishing how much you need to support your family and how much you do for your family, and you're bringing it all back to, you know, I'm a bad father and husband. But in reality, when we look at this sheet, it you know, I mean, it's right there. It shows you that, you know, you're doing everything that you can, for your family, for yourself, and you know, I think personally that's great. And looking at this, it really just lays it out in front of you.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling after, you know, completing this sheet?
I do feel like, even though this thought, I do think about it all the time, and it does feel like a 9 when I'm in that moment, seeing like the evidence that we came up for against the automatic thought, it does seem on paper that I am a better father than I do think about myself.
Right.
I mean, because I'm not choosing to be away from them. I have to support them, and that's just what it is.
Right. So, if you want, you can actually keep this sheet and just
Okay.
kind of, you know,
Yeah.
keep these things in mind when you're thinking of these things. Also, you should try thinking of these things
Yeah.
on the other side too, because you know they're valid. Everything is so valid on there, and you know it could really help you in like how
Yeah.
you're feeling overall.
I definitely will use it as a cheat sheet.
Great. So, how are you feeling after doing the worksheet? Do you feel like it's been helpful?
Yeah,
or-
I definitely think that it's been helpful because, like we were kind of talking about earlier, I do kind of just in my mind support the negative thought that I'm a bad father.
Right.
I don't look for other ways. I just believe it.
Right.
But it is nice to see it actually out on the paper. Like some of the, I guess, better qualities, or even the reasons behind why
Right.
I'm doing what I'm doing.
So I'm glad that this was helpful for you, and I'm glad that you know you helped me and took the time to be able to do it with me. So time is almost
Yeah.
over. So I just wanted to basically we talked a little bit about how you've been feeling over the past week, and you know you're working hard, and you are a little bit stressed out because you work extra hours,
Yeah.
you miss your family, and you know there are reasons for that. Like you're supporting your family, you know, you want to spend time with your kids, but sometimes that's not always possible with our jobs. And so maybe just throughout for the following week, just keep this in mind, keep it with you if you need to, you know, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about to see if it were helpful the next time that we meet and
Yeah.
see how you're feeling.
Okay.
So I really do like your openness to be able to share with me. You know, you did a great job today,
Thank you.
and yeah. So I'll see you next week if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.